In a crumbling chapel, the plague had taken every breath from the child, until Kale laid his hands upon her.
The chains, the bones, they won't let go.
What did you see, child? What darkness speaks through you?
Under the cathedral, a farm of bones. They chain our souls. Please don't let them take me back.
Outside, the village had gathered, their whispers turning to shouts of miracle as the news spread.
Silence. This is no miracle. It is necromancy, a sin against the divine order. Seize him.
They branded him a heretic, a saint slayer, and tore the screaming child from his arms.
They'll silence her forever. I can't let them bury this.
With a burst of green light, he shattered the iron and fled, the soldiers' shouts fading behind him.
A farm of bones under the cathedral. I have to find out what it is, even if they hunt me to the ends of the earth.
Months later, a fugitive Kale stumbled upon a battlefield of fallen paladins, among them Sir Aldrich, a living saint.
If I resurrect him, it's proof of necromancy. But he might hold the key to the death farm.
Desperation overrode caution. His necrotic touch yanked Sir Aldrich's soul screaming back into flesh.
The cathedral, a death farm. They chain our life force to fuel false miracles.
How can I shatter it? Tell me before you.
Beware the throne beneath the altar. The Inquisitor knows. I am already gone.
His body erupted into light just as armored boots surrounded them. Inquisitor Valerius stood over the fading saint.
Heretic, you've slain a canonized saint. The church brands you the Saint Slayer.
This was a trap. They'll twist this to bury the truth forever. But I won't let them.
In chains, the heretic who defied death was dragged toward a pyre, the Inquisition's judgment already alight. The Inquisition's grand court loomed, Gothic arches casting shadows as Valerius mounted the judgment seat.
This heretic defiled a saint's corpse with unholy resurrection. The sentence is fire.
I resurrected Aldrich to hear his warning. There's a death farm under your cathedral, draining souls.
Among the spectators, Sister Mira, a nun imprisoned for heretical visions, trembled as Kale's words echoed her own nightmares.
The death farm. I've seen it in my visions. This man speaks the curse I've been shown.
Silence his foul tongue. Take him to the pyre, and let the flames purify his lies.
That night, Mira slipped past the guards and whispered to the condemned heretic.
I believe you. My visions showed the same horror. Souls chained beneath the altar. I'll help you escape.
With a stolen key and a prayer, Mira led Kale into the catacombs, the Inquisition's hounds baying behind them.
In my visions, a throne of bones drinks the life of the faithful. Your resurrection breaks those chains. We must destroy it.
You've actually seen it. Describe every detail. I need to know what we're facing.
Rows of bodies, living but drained, strung like puppets. A throne of fused bones at the center, and our souls tethered by chains of light.
My resurrection tears those chains. That's why they branded me Saint Slayer. I am a threat to their entire power structure.
They ventured deeper into the winding catacombs, following Mira's fragmented visions toward the source of the evil. At last, a heavy iron door loomed before them, inscribed with runes that pulsed with a sickly green light.
This is the door from my nightmares. Behind it, the air itself tastes of stolen souls.
Kale pushed the door ajar, and the stench of decay washed over them. Inside, row after row of emaciated figures lay strapped to glowing tubes, their life force siphoned away.
By the saints, they're still alive. We have to free them.
But before they could act, shouts echoed down the corridor. Inquisition guards had found their trail. Mira pulled Kale back, and they fled into the darkness, the death farm's horrors burning in their memories. They emerged from a rocky crevice into moonlit woods, a campfire's glow blinking through the trees. A scarred outcast stepped out, blade raised, his branded arm bared. Who trespasses on the hunted's ground?
We're not with the Inquisition. We escaped their catacombs. The church hunts us too.
He lowered his blade and led them into a clearing where others huddled, outcasts with flickering flames on their palms and fear in their eyes. Kale knelt beside a gaunt figure whose wound festered. Without a word, he pressed his glowing palm against it. The man jerked upright, his fever breaking. Around them, the outcasts whispered, "He's cursed like us," but it healed him. A voice called from the crowd, "With power like that, we could finally strike back at the Inquisition."
I am no general. If I lead you, I'll only bring more death. You saw what I am, a necromancer.
Death is what they've built. Your touch gives life, Kale. That's why you must lead.
But what if my gift only chains them like the farm does? I can't be their new jailer.
Mira's eyes rolled white as visions seized her, chains of light, binding souls to a throne of bones.
I see Ilara. Her soul is still chained down there. We must destroy the farm, or she'll never be free.
I resurrected her, but I never freed her. This ends now.
He turned to the outcasts, his voice cutting through the night like a blade.
We march on the holy city. We will shatter that throne and free every soul it has stolen.
A scout burst into the circle, breathless. Inquisition soldiers, a full company, torchlight already lined the trees. There was no time to plan.
Fight. Show them why they fear us.
The outcasts surged forward, flames and steel meeting plate and holy fury in the moonlit clearing. When the last soldier fled, the camp was soaked in blood. But Kale knew the real battle was only beginning. At dawn, Kale gathered the bloodied survivors beneath the dead tree at the crossroads.
We don't march for vengeance. We march to shatter the chains that bind the souls of the faithful and the forgotten. From this moment, we are the unchained. Let the Inquisition hear our approach and tremble.
The ragtag army set out under a gray sky, each step taking them closer to the white spires that promised damnation. But Kale's steps grew heavier. The power he wielded was devouring him from within.
How many resurrections until there's nothing left of me? And who will lead them then?
Kale, you are shaking. Please, rest. The others can march without you for an hour.
Number. If I stop, I might not start again. Just stay close.
So they trudged on, a silent understanding passing between them, a bond forged in blood and damnation. The holy city still lay days away, but Kale wondered if he would even reach its gates. A burned village rose from the mist, its pyre still smoldering. A figure, bound and charred, yet somehow still breathed.
He still draws breath. If I pull him back, even for seconds.
Kale placed his trembling hands on the man's chest. Green light surged, and the heretic gasped. The man's lips moved with stolen breath. East Gate, an aqueduct. But the Inquisitor knows you come. As his body turned to light, his soul whispered a final thanks. You freed me.
You see? They don't fear you. They bless you. Your power is a holy fire.
But Kale collapsed to his knees, his own life flickering like a dying candle.
Look ahead. The spires of the holy city. We're close. Don't give up now.
The white citadel loomed on the horizon, cold and silent, its gates waiting. Kale rose, leaning on Mira. The path was set. He just had to survive long enough to walk it. As they neared the outskirts, a hooded figure in priestly robes stepped from the shadows, raising a trembling hand. He spoke in a rush. Many clergy know of the Death Farm, but live in terror of the Inquisitor. The aqueduct is unguarded.
You would risk the pyre to help us? Why?
Better to burn for truth than to rot in complicity, he replied, pressing a weathered map into Kale's hand. It marked the East Aqueduct's entrance, bypassing the main gates. Kale felt a flicker of hope, but Mira's eyes went white. In her vision, Ilara's soul still writhed, crying through chains of light.
Kale, she's still bound down there, screaming. We have to save her first.
Then, we go not for vengeance, but for one child who should never have been chained.
That night, Kale gathered the Unchained. He laid out the plan, half to the cathedral, half to the Death Farm.
I will break those chains before I take another breath, even if it cost me my last.
The Unchained slipped into the ancient aqueduct, water dripping from moss-covered stone as they crept beneath the city's walls. Kale's legs buckled with every step. Mira steadied him, her prayers the only sound above the water.
Can't collapse now. Ilara's still down there. Just a little further.
The tunnel forked. To the right, stairs rose toward the cathedral's crypt. Straight ahead, the stench of the Death Farm.
Kale, if we go up, we can expose them at the ceremony. The whole world will see.
If I go up, I might not have strength left for the farm. Ilara's soul comes first.
He turned toward the darkness, and Mira knew she would follow him into any abyss.
The rest of you, go to the cathedral. Make them witnesses. We'll free the souls.
With whispered blessings, the Unchained divided, some ascending toward the light, others descending into nightmare.
I'll see you soon, Ilara. Hold on.
They emerged into the death farm, rows of living bodies tethered to machines, and among them, Ilara's small, pale form.
I found you. Now, let me finish what I started.
Kale pressed his palm to her chest. Green light flared, and the soul chain binding her pulsed with resistance. It shattered with a shriek. Ilara's eyes flew open, not in pain, but in recognition.
You came back. I knew you would. Thank you, Kale.
Then the guards came, a tide of steel and holy fury. The outcasts met them, but the line was breaking.
Mira, buy me more time. I won't let the rest suffer.
He staggered to the next captive, his hand shaking as the light guttered. Each release drained him further, a spear thrust through his shoulder. He didn't scream, but Mira's cry echoed over the din. Kale's vision blurred, but he reached for the next chain. Just one more, and then he crumpled to the stone floor. But a silvery light poured from Ilara's chest, her soul, now unchained, wrapped around Kale like a shield, driving the guards back.
You gave me peace, Kale. Now rise. There are more souls to free, and a truth to expose.
Mira's eyes glowed as a vision seized her. A path through the crypt, up to the cathedral, where the great ceremony had already begun.
Valerius is at the pulpit, and the Unchained are about to strike. Kale, we must go. Now.
Above, in the grand cathedral, incense choked the air as Valerius raised his hands, declaring the sanctity of the church's miracles. But the outcasts burst through the doors, their forbidden powers flaring. "This is a house of lies," a voice cried.
You dare defile the holy ceremony. Guards, cut them down. Purge the heretics.
Kale, half carried by Mira, emerged from the crypt into the chaos. Blood dripped from his shoulder, but his eyes fixed on the altar.
Just a little further. The throne is there. I can feel it pulsing with stolen life.
He began to crawl, inch by inch, through smoke and shouting, toward the altar that hid a throne of bones. Kale's bloodied hand reached the altar steps, where a healed pilgrim stood in reverent stupor. He touched the man's chest. Green light erupted, and from his back, strings of stolen life twisted into view. The crowd recoiled. Prayers turned to screams as the illusion of miracles shattered.
This is necromancy. The demon seeks to defile our faith. Do not listen.
Your faith is built on chained souls. I've seen them beneath this floor. You feed on them.
I was a sister of this church until I saw the death farm in my visions. He speaks truth.
Kale dragged his broken body past the altar, toward the crypt entrance. The throne called to him.
Then you will both burn. Guards, to me. I will cut this heresy out myself.
Mira threw herself between them, her eyes glowing with borrowed light. The congregation stood frozen, half horrified, half enraged, as the first stones of the church began to crumble. Valerius vaulted over the altar, his sword crackling with stolen life force, and swung at Kale's neck.
Every soul you've chained screams through me. I won't let you silence them.
Green fire met corrupt gold. A shockwave ripped through the nave, shattering candelabras and silencing the combatants.
Kale, get up. Don't let him win.
Below, the throne of bones stirred. Cracks snaked across the crypt ceiling, and green light bled through the floor.
Yes, the death farm is real. Without it, this holy city crumbles into anarchy. I will not let you destroy our order.
The congregation heard his confession. Gasps turned to cries of betrayal. Even his own guards hesitated.
Your order is a cage of bones, and I am its key.
Kale lunged for the crypt's edge, not to fight, but to fall. The throne beckoned. The bone throne opened its maw, 100 chained souls screaming, and Kale answered with a scream of his own. Kale's hands gripped the bone throne, and every drop of his remaining life poured into necrotic fire. He screamed into the void, and the throne answered with a detonation that silenced even Valerius's rage. The throne of bones erupted into luminous dust, chains shattered, and a geyser of souls burst upward through the cathedral floor. Countless translucent souls spiraled upward, their silent gratitude more deafening than any sermon. Valerius was hurled against the altar, his blade shattering into 1,000 shards of corrupt light.
KL, Number, you can't leave now, not after this triumph.
The false miracles across the city flickered and died. The death farm's tubes cracked, the victims stirring with their own breath. The congregation fell to their knees. Some wept, others reached for the light as if to touch the freed souls. Amid the settling dust, Kale lay still, the green glow fading from his eyes. Mira crawled to him, her screams echoing in the newborn silence. The Saint Slayer had fallen, but the chains he'd broken would never hold the world again. Mira cradled Kale's head, her tears falling onto his still face. A circle of odd silence widened around them.
He's breathing. Kale, stay with me, please.
No more saints. No more inquisitors. Just healers. Let that be my legacy.
A murmur swept the congregation. The call for a new order fractured into uncertainty. Valerius, still dazed, was seized by the very guards he once commanded. None would meet his eyes.
Then I'll walk beside you, not behind a throne. That's the only order I need.
The Unchained moved among the fallen, friend and foe alike, binding wounds with torn cloth.
This was only the breaking. Now the real work begins, but not today.
Dawn pierced the shattered rose window, painting the rubble in streaks of crimson and gold. The Saint Slayer would not be a king, but a healer, and that was enough. Weeks later, in a village no longer touched by plague, Kale knelt before a sobbing child with a scraped knee.
His gift was never meant for conquest, just for this.
The green light that once tore souls apart now mended skin as softly as a mother's kiss. The child looked up, her tears turning to a toothy grin. She didn't know his name, only that he'd stopped the hurt.
They don't need a Saint Slayer. They need a healer who walks among them.
So I'll wander, heal those the church abandoned, and teach others to do the same. That's how faith resurrects.
They left the village at dawn, footprints trailing past the ruined cathedral, where wildflowers now pushed through the cracks. No pyres lit the horizon, no soldiers hunted the outcast. Only the quiet work of rebuilding what lies had broken. Kale and Mira walked side by side, not as saviors, but as a promise that even the deepest wound could find a gentle hand. The Saint Slayer would never be a saint, but he'd resurrect faith itself, one healed wound at a time. Word spread like wildfire. The Saint Slayer had shattered the church's throne of bones, and every false miracle crumbled with it.
They're tearing down the Inquisition banners in the square. The people want no more Inquisitors.
Good. Let them build something new from the rubble. I'll have no hand in it.
He turned from the shattered altar and walked among the wounded, outcasts and former guards alike, offering nothing but a glowing hand.
This is my true resurrection. Not pulling souls back, but mending the living so they never fall.
The pyres were extinguished. The death farm was sealed forever. In the quiet, a new faith took root, a faith without chains.
They're calling it the Unchained Church. Not a hierarchy, just people who heal and teach. Your legacy, Kale.
Then let it be. I am not a saint. I am just a medic who refused to let death have the last word.
He continued his solitary road, but behind him, the world was stitching itself back together. One wound, one soul, one healed child at a time. The Saint Slayer had become the world's quietest healer, and in his silence, a new era was born.
A delegation of villagers came from the Eastern Plains. They want to open a healing house in your name, Kale. No sermons, just medicine.
Let them use whatever name they want, so long as no one chains another soul. Just sent word to share the methods with every town.
He spent his remaining strength teaching others to feel the wound before reaching for the soul. Many learned, few could resurrect, and that was enough. A young girl, once chained in the death farm, now helped Mira mix salves. She said she could still hear the chains rattle in her dreams.
But at least now when she screams, someone answers. That's the difference you made.
A single answered scream is worth more than a century of sermons.
At night, the Unchained gathered not to pray, but to plan. Routes to the remote valleys, supply caches, names of anyone who could stitch a wound. Each candle they lit was a rebellion against the darkness Valerius had preached was inevitable. Kale's own light, however, dimmed a little more each day. Mira noticed but said nothing. She would not steal his choice. The world had stopped calling him Saint Slayer. They called him the medic now, and he preferred the sound of that. They had made a home of rubble and wildflowers. In the evenings, Kale often sat outside, watching the sunset bleed through the broken rose window.
You are shivering again. Come inside. The night air is too sharp for you now.
I am fine, Mira. Actually, I am better than I've ever been. This body's just a slow-burning candle, but the flame is calm.
A small boy approached with a splinter, and without a word, Mira knelt, her fingers glowing with a gentle green light she'd learned from him.
She heals now without chains. That's the true resurrection I fought for.
Did I do it right? The light flickered a little.
The child scampered off, laughing. The last light faded, and they did not light a candle. The stars were enough.
No more pyres. No more chains. Just this one healed hand. Another freed soul. I'd burn 1,000 times for this.
In the distance, the cathedral ruins stood silent, a grave for the old order. But here, among the wildflowers, the new world breathed. Kale's own light, dim but steady, pointed the way for a faith that needed no throne. Only a gentle hand in the darkness. Seasons turned. Kale's steps grew rarer, his voice softer. But the unchained church he had sparked now numbered in the hundreds.
They don't need a Saint Slayer anymore, Kale. They need each other. You gave them that.
I gave them nothing. They had the courage all along. I just broke the first chain.
One evening, as the wildflowers began to close, he took Mira's hand and smiled.
The candle is almost gone. But look, there are a dozen lights out there now. That's enough.
Mira pressed her forehead to his and spoke the words she'd learned from him.
No pyres, no chains, only this.
When dawn came, his hand was still, but his students were already at the sickbeds across the valley. Mira picked up his staff, not to lead an army, but to open another healing house. And the wildflowers spread. In the end, the Saint Slayer did not slay death. He resurrected a world that no longer feared it. In the valley where the plague once reigned, children now played among the wildflowers. None of them knew the name Saint Slayer.
They call their healer Mira. And she teaches the same lesson. Feel the wound, then reach for the soul. But only if you are willing to give a piece of your own.
That was the true covenant Kale left behind, not a scripture, but a sacrifice. Every healing carried an echo of his fading light. No pyre had been lit in 3 generations. The catacombs had been sealed with wildflower seeds, and the death farm was a garden now. On the anniversary of the throne's fall, they gathered not to mourn, but to teach the next healer. A girl from the eastern plains raised her hand.
She asked, "Did the Saint Slayer ever fear death?" I told her he feared only chains that held a soul from peace.
Kale's staff stood at the entrance, wound with holly and heather. It never bloomed, but it never rotted either. 1,000 miles away, in a village that had never seen a priest, a child scraped her knee and whispered her mother's prayer, and her mother's hand, glowing faint green, mended the wound without a word. The chain had been broken for good. The Saint Slayer was forgotten, but his resurrection lived in every gentle hand that reached for the wounded, and that was the end of the old world.